we are going to be looking into the sales, dealing with your customers, and how the flow of sales actually works in QuickBooks. So again, the great thing about QuickBooks is it's very flexible, especially if you're doing cash sales or if you're doing credit card sales or if you actually are creating accounts receivable. All right. So accounts receivable is when people owe you money, when the customers owe you money, and you guys you create an account for them. So here today the topics are going to be how to differentiate, what kind of forms to use when you're dealing with sales. You're also going to be looking in setting up your customers. We're going to be looking into costing. So remember yesterday we briefly talked very shortly about job costing. So today it is actually a very small section, but we get to look into a little example of what job costing actually does. Again, we're going to be recording the sales and receiving the payment. And lastly, we'll be also making bank deposits. And last thing I want to introduce to you is the income tracker. Okay, so because of yesterday, I waited till the very end to introduce you to the bill tracker. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start this as number one, and then we'll go from there. So if you guys haven't yet, please open your page to page 29. So I'm going to go briefly over the income tracker, and then we'll start from there. Okay. So here is the home page. Again, let's go ahead and take a look at what the income tracker is and what it can do for you. So here I got the bank. Let me see. Income tracker. All right. So the income tracker, when it pops up, it looks, if not identical to the bill tracker. So this is where QuickBooks gets to keep track of all of your what do you call it? All of your estimates. It keeps track of all of your not invoices. Yes, invoices, and it also keeps all of the accounts receivables. Okay, so you want to make sure that just looking at all of these invoices, these are all the money that you have billed your customers, and these customers owe you money. All right. Excuse me. As you can see, we have the date here and each customer name here. So we have quite a few receivables that we need to go and collect. And of course, because we are using 2019 dates, and obviously we're working in 2020, they've been overdue for quite some time. You have $4,000 overdue, and none of those people paid you. So the cool thing about Income Tracker is it pretty much gives you a summary of everything, of all of your all of your invoices. So this is primarily just dealing with accounts receivable. When we do sales receipt, which I will describe to you, sales receipt is going to be your cash and your check sales that happen at the time of the sale. Okay, so those are basically instant money, if you want to think about it, or instant income. Where accounts receivable, we have to wait till they pay us back. Yes.
Did the chat end for everybody? Because it kicked me out and said that the connection was lost.
Oh, is that okay?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I was talking about the income tracker. So I actually like the income tracker because it gives you pretty much a quick view of all the invoices and all the people that owe you money, and it gives you a total sum amount of how much you actually need to be collecting. All right, so this is going to be the difference between the sales receipt and the invoices. So these are people that we're only going to be focusing here is the accounts receivable. So yeah, so I just wanted to introduce you to this. And here we also have the create invoice, create sales receipt. We have all of it here. All right. So yes, so this is one of the ways you can enter in all of those transactions. So now I'm going to be moving on into looking into the actual flow of transactions, or sorry, for sales. Okay, so as you can see, if we focus right on the middle, okay, we have our customer center, and this is our flow of transaction right here. We're going to start by making an estimate. So making an estimate is basically like getting a quote for your customer, okay? So if you guys remember from the very first chapter, or chapter 12, estimates is going to be, again, it's like your quote to your customer. If your customer agrees, then we convert that estimate into an invoice, okay? Hold on, we have someone coming in. Here is Venna. Okay, so again, we're looking at the flow of transactions. So when we start an estimate and the customer wants to do it, then we create it turns into an invoice. Okay, so this is what's cool about estimates, is we can get the customer's information and be like, well, if you want to do it, then just give us a call back and we'll create the product for you, XYZ. So once we do that, then we have to create an estimate. And then once we create the invoice. So this is us in other words, billing our customer. Okay? Once we do that, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to receive a payment for them, and then we need to deposit our funds. Okay? This one is strictly for, as your book calls it, for your credit customers. Okay, so this is for, creating your accounts receivable. If they have an account with us, or if you offer one, then this is what you would go for. Now, if you have a regular sales, let's say someone came in and they paid you with cash, right? That's what you're going to use that one for, is you're going to create a sales receipt. Now I'm trying to look for where sales receipt is. Statement charges, sales account, credit card charge.
Payment.
It's above receive payments.
Receive payment. Yep, right above it. Create sales receipts.
Create sales receipts. Yes. So this is okay. So when we create sales receipts and stuff, this one is primarily for either the people that pay in cash, or they pay by check, like the day of. So again, QuickBooks describes it as separating that as a cash customer. So that's what the first part of the book says. I don't know why they introduce it to you so soon, when we don't practice it until after we enter our customer. So obviously with the sales, we're dealing with our customers. So this is just the line of flow of transactions. So again, once the customer gives us and we produce them a sales receipt, it's going to go directly into the deposit funds. And again, you actually don't deposit the money right away. The only thing that actually goes through is your credit card. But again, if we are receiving a check, you need to go ahead and make a deposit to the bank, which I will go ahead and show you what to do, especially when you're dealing with QuickBooks. Okay? So let's go ahead and get diving in. And the first section I want to look at is to basically go ahead and create or set up one of our customers. So again, if you go on page 31 and 32, it gives you a little graph here so you guys can recognize the difference between using the create a sales receipt versus create an invoice. Okay, so your cash and your credit customers. So yes. So I do actually have a few things that I should tell you. I completely forgot about it. But as you read the book, okay, the book is going to show you the long way, and it's going to show you a shortcut. Okay, the shortcuts is going to be using the control and whatever letter, right? For the sake of the certification exam, it will not accept your shortcut. It will mark you wrong. So make sure that when we're studying for the certification exam, do not study the shortcuts. Study on the actual links to get there. Okay. And even if you were to just hit this, your little shortcuts is right here. It will tell you right here that it says Control N, right? You know what I mean? Control P, whatever it is. But for the sake of the exam, you do not want to study up those. Okay, those are for use for you in the real life setting. Okay, because you're not going to go here and here if you can memorize the shortcut, and it makes it easier for you to be able to navigate QuickBooks quicker. That is cool, and that is for you. But for the sake of the certification exam, you need to know every single way and every long way. All right? So, okay, so here we're going to start setting up our customer. All right? Now, again, yesterday we went over setting up our vendors. So there are, let me see. There are 4 ways to set up your customers. And how do we do that? Let's start off by getting to the customer center. So what are the 3 ways you can enter the customer center?
Go up to the menu bar,
Yes?
go to company,
Not company?
no, customers, I'm sorry,
Customers?
and customer center right there.
Good. That's one way.
Another way would be above accept credit cards is the customer center box.
And what do you call this?
That's the icon bar.
Icon bar. Good, good, good. Customers right here. Good. And then where else?
Where it says on the home screen, accept credit cards, right above that is the box.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking about this one. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And then on the left, you have it right here, customers. So those are 3 ways you could get to the customer center. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, good. So again, customer center looks identical, if not similar to the vendor center. You have your list of your customers here. You have their balances that they owe you. You have their information here, and below is the transactions that you have created with this customer. So again, how do we create a new customer?
If you go above where your arrow is to new customer and job.
That's correct. Right here, you can either enter one at a time or you can add a job, and you can enter customers at multiple customers at the same time. So good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my new customer started. So let's go ahead and look at our book. So I am currently on page 33 in our book. So let's go ahead and go over this. So it says here we're going to create a new customer. All right. Okay. And let's see what information I need to put in. So I need to enter Fang Tim in the customer name field. Okay. Let me see. All right. Press tab twice to skip to the opening balance. Okay, so rule of thumb in QuickBooks. Okay. When we're dealing with our customers. Okay, hold on. Why? Okay, so when we're dealing with our customers, rule of thumb is when you start off with a opening balance, you never want to put anything in there. Reason being is because you're going to create a whether it's if you're dealing with a vendor, you're going to create a liability. If you are dealing with a customer, you're going to be creating an asset that doesn't exist. I don't know if that makes any sense. And when you try to pay for it, QuickBooks will not recognize it at all. It will not make any associations or any links to your opening balance. So what they highly recommend is when you start your opening balance, you want to start at 0. And when you, in order to create that balance, you should actually place in either the bill or the invoice in to make the balance exactly where it should be. And then that way, when you either pay the bill or receive a payment, it will counter it and it will recognize it and it will take it right off, and it will either decrease or increase your assets / liabilities. So you make sure that you don't enter just a random number when you're doing the opening balance. You start at 0. So here, opening balance, I'm going to say it is 0. And it's as of, I'm not quite sure what date, but I'm going to say as of January of 2020. Okay. Who is my customer's name? Again, I believe my customer's name is going to be Fang, Tim. And, okay, so we'll go from there. Does he have a company name? And if he does, then go ahead and fill that in. So let's see. Now, everything that we look at is going to be exactly how we did our vendor. Okay. So let's go ahead and see here. So we need to recognize that he's a Mr. Okay. Oh, no, he's a doctor. My bad. So he's a Dr. Tim S. Fang, okay? And he's the owner. There is no specific of what owner he is. Does it say what company he belongs to? I do not see a company. But he's, I guess, the owner of something. So let's go ahead and fill that in. So again, identical to a vendor. You're just filling in all the information and you're filling it in like a form, okay? Everything's going to be similar, if not. Okay, so here we need to make sure that he is a doctor. And we know that it is Tim. And we know it is, middle name is S. And we know his last name is Fang. And his job title is the owner. Okay. So what is his main phone number? For 408-555-8298. So his main phone number is 408-555-8928. Was it?
8298.
8298. Thank you. Okay, and his let me see. And he has an email address. At D.
Read it to you, Lynn?
Say that again.
You want me to just read it to you?
Sure. That would help me out a lot better, so I can fill this out for you guys, so I don't have to go back and forth.
So his email address is D as in David,
Mm-hmm.
R as in Richard, F as in Frank,
Mm-hmm. At
df.biz. biz.
biz. Oopsies, I had that right. The BIZ. Okay, good. And does he have a company website?
No.
Okay, so for sure, no company. Okay, so but he's okay. All right. So what is his address?
300 North 1st Street.
All right, just give me 1 second. 300 North First. Ooh, is it just N?
Yeah, they have just N and then first is spelled out.
First Street.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
San Jose, California.
San Jose, California.
95136.
95136. Got it. All right. Is his address the same as his billing address?
Yes.
Perfect. So you press the copy button and it's going to ask you, is that for sure the actual address? And you're just going to confirm it and it's
Wait,
going to
don't-
copy. What happened?
It said to type office in the address name, but everything else was the same.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Cancel. So where am I putting office?
If you hit copy again, you can just do space and that'll all go away. Replace.
Oh shoot, I put create new. Cause I okay.
Oh no, you created a second one.
Yeah.
Just cancel. So copy and then replace. Yep. Oh, I guess I'm not doing it.
That's why I was gonna okay, so I'm gonna erase it, press copy again, create new, and
So it's just saying right in the address name is what it's saying was to write office.
got it.
That was all. That was different.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So here you go. When we copy it over, it's going to look just like this. It's going to look identical to his business and whatnot. All right. So that's the first thing. Now remember, we're not going to click OK because we need to go to the left side and fill out his whole entire application. So here we're going to be recognizing payment settings. Now this is going to be if we create an account with him, okay? Or we give him an account because he's our customer. So the account number is going to be what we give him. So what is the account number? Or is there one?
3546.
Okay. And then payment terms. Do we give this guy payment terms?
Net 30.
No, we don't. We tell him we don't give him a discount. We just say your bill is due at the end of the month.
He does have a credit limit though,
Okay, so what is it?
8,000.
Wow. We're gambling with this guy. We're letting him have an $8,000 credit. Does he have a price level?
Commercial.
So he's commercial. Okay. So again, what a price level is it's going to be dependent on where your you can either do out of state, you can either like you can charge a different level. So this is commercial, meaning like oh this is for a grander scale versus like a small grand opening shop, right? We're in the business, so we can charge him at a different price. It could be higher, it could be lower. We can charge out of state, it XYZ. All right. Okay, so that 30 preferred delivery. We're gonna email it to him. Why would we email? But that's okay. And let's see what else. Does he give us a credit card number for us to have on file?
It just says select Visa as preferred payment.
Preferred payment Visa. Perfect. Okay. All right. Okay. So then now we are done with that one. And now we need to look at our sales tax settings. So again, our company is in California. Sales tax you have a few options for sales tax, whether he could be exempt from sales tax or whether he's depending on what kind of thing that you do. I believe for him he gets taxed as a service, right? Or does he get taxed at regular tax?
It just says tax.
Okay. That's good. And is it out of state?
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara. Okay. So based on the county, okay, they're gonna get taxed based on the county. So if you guys are familiar with taxes, you can be charged a higher tax depending on what county you actually live in. All right. So okay. So what is next? Additional info. Okay, so you guys remember this? This is where we can create custom fields if we need to. If we learn any extra information on this Tim Fang. All right. Let's see what is the customer type?
Sorry, business.
Business, perfect. And then is there a county? I think it's Santa Clara. Or
And then the rep is MM.
okay, so Mike Mazowski. Okay, so Mike Mazowski actually works for us. We'll take a look at him when we move into the employees section. So you'll see him around. Is there any other additional information you want to put in here? Let's say, did you get to know if this doctor was married? Is there any information that you want to know that from this customer? Okay, so here, do I know does he have a wife or a husband? Do we know their name? If not, that's okay. That can apply for another customer. All right, now the last section is going to be jobs. Okay, so again, when we are looking at a job, this is when we start like doing things for this specific customer. So for example, if I need to buy paper for this specific for this specific customer, I would have to put them under the name and say that this job that I've created or this customer is going to is going to be we're making a special order for this specific customer. As far as jobs, let's say for example they are the photographer. We can assign them expenses as well. Okay, let's say we had one of our photographers, right? We assign them the expense, so then they need to cover his expense and our fee for providing it. So does this Tim Fang have a job?
I don't see anything.
Okay, that's fine. So I am done for this Tim Fangs. I'm gonna go ahead and click OK, and here he is. He shows up right here. His information is there, and no transactions yet. Okay. So we can go ahead and move along. Okay, so let me see what the next one is. This one, this one is, I think we finished this page already. So now it's job costing. So again, that is how you can create a new customer. Again, you can also create it by right clicking and you can enter a new customer. You just want to make sure that you don't actually click on a name because you might actually accidentally click edit instead. So make sure you click somewhere off the page somewhere and be able to do that. But for majority of the things, you're going to, primarily go up here and enter in the customers from the top. Now, if you have a list of all your customers, again, if you're starting fresh and you have 0 customers in your I keep tapping in your list, you have 0 customers and you want to build up your customer list, or if you have your customer list already, you can go ahead and click file and import the files by go to utilities and import. And what happens is if you have Excel, it's very useful. It's very compatible and it's very useful to be able to import it in here. You can also set your Excel so that it looks just like this on QuickBooks. Copy and paste it in here and it will go in really nice and smoothly. So again, this applies to both vendors and customers. You can build your clientele list very easily using QuickBooks. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back. So let's go ahead and look at job costing. Now, if you guys read carefully what it says for job costing, right? It kind of gives you a little mumble jumbo. It's not really clear. It just says that, oh, you're just creating an income and an expense and you're designating this specific customer to it. It's in fine lines to describe it best is if you're buying a product for a customer, you're going to use them because this is the customer that is specifically wanting this item. The job, again, I described it earlier. If they need to take a photo shoot, you can assign a specific person or a specific task to that customer saying, for example, one of my photographers, okay, I'll have them as be your personal job, okay? As in this person is going to be assigned to you, so you make sure that you can cover their expenses, but also be able to pay for us as well. So that's when we look into looking at this job costing thing, and when we assign a specific photographer to that customer, you're gonna see in billing and time. So in chapter 9, you're gonna see what I mean when it's basically splitting the cost and making sure that we expense the correct people for that particular job. Okay, so here we're gonna go ahead and take a look at jobs. So if you guys remember, I just went over it. It is going to be one of the bottom sections when you create. I'm just gonna click a random person. When you create a customer, right? The one thing that you have different from the vendors and from the customers is you have this little job thing right here. If this person is a frequent customer, you can actually assign them a specific task, or let's say they frequently buy stuff from us. You can actually assign them a person or a specific item, okay? But in this case, again, this is more towards things that we'll be looking in chapter 9. So I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that in chapter 9. So we can go ahead and skip that section. So now it's asking us to record sales. Now, again, there are 2 different ways you can record sales. You have your cash customers and you have your credit customers. Okay, the only differences that you're going to know is that you are going to be using a sales receipt when the customer pays at the time of sale. Okay, make sure you understand that that's the huge difference right there. One is at the time of sale, and the other is when they do not pay at the time of sale, as in they pay you later. Okay, and that's where you're going to create your invoice. Or in other words, that's how you bill your customers. Okay, so here we're going to look at an example of what a sales receipt is and how this customer paid you. Okay, so again, things that fall under sales receipts will be cash, check, and credit card. Okay, if the person does not pay you until later, then that's the assumption where they're gonna either pay you via check or they may pay you via credit card. But the main fine line to tell the difference is whether did they pay now or did they pay you later. Okay, so here, sales receipt. All right, so click create sales receipts on the customers section on the home page. So here I am going to ask you this because this is a question that will be asked on the certification exam. You will be asked to enter a sales receipt, okay? And there are 7 ways to enter a sales receipt. All right. So we were already given the first one right here on the home page. It's right there. It's easiest. Okay, but let's say the home page is unavailable. How are you going to enter a sales receipt? Anybody? How else are you going to enter a sales receipt? On the icon bar, you're going to go to the customer center. Good. Where else?
Menu bar.
Menu bar. Good. If you go to customers, boom, right here. Enter sales receipt. Okay. You can also go into the okay, so again, if we go to the customer center, right? This is where you're gonna find the rest of your ways. So if you have a new transaction, how would you enter it in? If we're trying to enter a sales receipt, how would you do it on the customer center?
Would you right click their name?
You can right click their name and it will say, let me see, sales receipt. Yes, sales receipt. Create estimate. Yes, right here, sales receipt. Good. Okay. Where else would you do?
Oh, manage transactions.
Yes, if you have that specific person, you can go down at the bottom, manage transactions, sales receipt. Good. Where else?
New transactions.
New transactions is correct. Sales receipt. Okay. And then lastly, the last thing I showed you was the income tracker. That is going to be one of those things that you can, oopsies, I hit the calendar. You can also enter in. So income tracker, you can go here, manage, and you see your sales receipt right here. All right. Make sure you know every single way because QuickBooks will tell you when you're doing the navigation portion, if something isn't available, it's going to ask you until you get the answer that they want. Now, here's the dumb thing about the QuickBooks. It's not going to ask you specifically which one it's going to ask you for. It's going to ask you until you get the correct answer. So you're going to be trying to input all the ways to get a sales receipt in until QuickBooks accepts it. So fun. So make sure you understand all 7 ways to get how to enter a sales receipt. All right. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and follow the book and enter the sales receipt via home page. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Okay, so enter create sales receipt. All right. So again, it's going to look identical to a lot of the other forms. This is the same exact form for the bills. It's the same exact form for the invoice. They're all going to just look really familiar. Okay, they all have some similarities to all of them. All you need to do is just fill out the form with the information you need. So let's go ahead and dive into our example. Let's see, who are we going to be filling this sales receipt for? So it says enter Perez Jerry in the customer name. I believe this one is going to ask us to quick add. And then we're going to quick add this Perez Jerry. Again, so with customers that do sales receipt, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be an actual customer that we know. It could be a random person, right? So I said Perez, comma, Jerry. Okay. As you can, oops, I spelled Perez wrong, but as you can see, he doesn't even exist. He doesn't exist. So I can either add name or I can do quick add. Now, I did add name, which I'm just going to close that out because it wants me to quick add him instead. So Perez, comma, Jerry. And here, a pop-up window is going to say, we do not recognize a Perez Jerry. Okay. Would you like to quick add him? And we say, yes, I do want to quick add him. And then there should be another pop-up, but I think it was clear because we're under sales receipt. So he is now our customer. All right. Class is San Jose. San Jose. Okay, and then it's going to say, what template would you like to use? It should be custom. If not, there's only one. So we have a customized sales receipt, so that's fine. And then let's go ahead and fill out the rest of the information. Okay, so yes. You can create your own custom forms. Yes, we've looked at it in chapter 12, but in this case, we are fine with our regular one. And now it says click check for the payment of this for. Okay, so we're gonna make sure that he paid us via check. All right. And when did he pay us? He paid us on January 27, 2019. Now, again, we can't enter transactions that are a year old. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 2020. Okay. And then enter 2019 in the sales number. And we are going to be entering a total amount. Okay. All right. I don't see the amount here. So let me go ahead and enter in all that information as far as that. So once we enter Perez Jerry, right, because we have no information on him whatsoever, none of his things will populate. Okay, so usually it will give you an address and everything if we have the customer's name. Now it asks us to select check. So he wrote a check to us. Okay, and okay, and then the check number was it 3528? It said. Uh, 3459 is our check number. So 3459, okay, that's his check number. And then we want to make sure that he paid us in January 27, okay, of 2020. And the invoice number is going to be 2021, okay? Now, once we've entered this sales receipt, QuickBooks will automatically create a sequence number. So every time you do another sales receipt, it's going to record it exactly like this, except the number is going to be 2. So it's going to keep track of all your sales receipt for you. So you do not need to enter this number in every single time. Now, let's say you need to fix it or edit it or something like that, or maybe you need to do a separate one. You can go ahead and go in there and change it, and it's going to take that number and it's going to continue creating a new sequence based upon what you type in there. So that's really cool. So you don't need to so you only enter it once and it will create a sequence for you. All right, so all that information is already entered in. Now, let's see, he bought from us an outdoor photo session. And how many did he buy? Okay. Okay, so we have an outdoor photo session. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in as the item number. Now, how many did he have? I don't see the number. Let me see. Quantity. 3 in the quantity. Okay, so he under items. So item is what we started off with. If you guys remember, we created a whole bunch of items. So this is going to be in particular to what service you offered. So we have, if we type in outdoor, it should populate here outdoor photo session. All right. And here, because these are preset things, it tells you the description and everything for it. And how many did he buy? He had 3 of them, or 3 hours. Okay, as we can see right here, it's $95 for one. And if I type in 3 and move on, it should automatically calculate the total right here without you having to do anything. All right, and then I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, and then the next thing is after you've entered the rate, okay, press tab, then enter 2 in the quantity. So now we need to have a photo package. So he also purchased a premium photo package from us, okay, for $85 each. So here, premium photo package, okay, and he requested 2 of them. Okay, so now he's got a total of this much right here. All right, press tab to accept the default rates of $85. That is fine. And now we need to give our friendly customer a little message saying thank you for your business. Okay. So here, I go here. In my message to my customer, thank you for your business. Okay? In the memo, it's going to be 3 hour photo session and 2 photo packages. Okay, tax is going to be tax, and it's not going to be out of state. It's going to be Santa Clara, I think. Let me check it real quick. Yes, Santa Clara tax. And then once we view all of our information, so he gives us a grand total of $468. Now let's look up here again just to verify. All right, 3 packages. 3 hours of the photo session is going to be for $95 each, multiplied by 3. All right, and then here the photo package is 2. He ordered 2 of them, and they're $85 each, giving us $170. So if we add those 2 numbers together, we should get a grand total of $468. And the tax is Santa Clara, which is 8.25%. Here, tax is already included. Here, that is our grand total. Once we've looked at all of this and we verify that it's all correct, we can click Save and Close. And here I got the beep of approval. All right, guys, it is 9:45. Let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break and resume our class at 10 o'clock. So, yes.